confirmation that we're live, and then we will do this.
We are live on our end. So first of all, welcome to all crypto friends of Crypto. We are waiting for the others to confirm, and then we will start the great crypto roundtable today with a lot of very interesting topics such as Bitcoin, altcoins, Binance, Facebook, and a few crazy predictions from DaVinci and dApp and FAT.TV.
Oh, right. I'm making predictions? I didn't know that. So, on my end, everybody knows what's going on, guys. It's K-Dub here. Thank you for joining the live stream. I think one of the first things we should definitely hop into, if you guys don't know, why doesn't everybody introduce themselves, actually, in case everyone doesn't know who they are? So,
well, my name is DaVinci Jeremy. I have a YouTube page called DaVinciJ15. I also have Twitter, the same name. And I'm a software developer. I own a company called DaVinci Codes. I'm building this product called Pandora's Wallet so that I could trade and keep all my cryptocurrencies on me. And you too can do the same with Pandora's Wallet. So if you're interested, check it out at pandoraswallet.com.
There we go.
Thank you. My name's Elliot, also known as Elio Trades here on FUD.TV. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Shout out FUD Nation. I'm a software developer as well, working on some dApps and games, a little different focus than DaVinci, Mr. Jeremy over there. And just really happy to be seeing the evolution of this space and where I can add some value. I try to. So thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely, guys. So, I mean, I kind of want to just kick it off on the big question because I always like to just start even my videos off with just sort of what's going on with Bitcoin, because let's be honest, like Bitcoin will drag everything down with it if it dumps, and it'll pull everything up with it if it pumps. So, statistically, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but March has not really been a very friendly month for Bitcoin. If you look back in the history books, it's really only had 1 year, 2013. I don't remember the exact. I think it's 170% it had, but all the other years it's been down. So I guess like the question that a lot of people I've seen kind of thrown around, all over the internet, all over the different threads is, are we going to be repeating this again? Are we going to have another, bad March for Bitcoin? And then in that case, do you guys think that maybe that we're aware of this, that it's almost better potential in some of these altcoins? I think that's a really good place to start. So maybe you guys have an opinion on that.
I thought about it, and I mean, taking the history as some kind of fundamental for the predicting of the future, for the prediction of the future, it's usually fine. But in statistics, when you take a sample, you usually want an n equals like at least 200, and Bitcoin is around for like 10 years. So I think you are correct. Maybe the probability is lower therefore, but when we have 10 years and 9 years of a very good, of a bad March, and only 1 year of a good March, I think the probabilities may be lower, but I wouldn't say that the history repeats itself just based on the last 10 years. I mean, for the stock market, we can take 100 years, 150 years or so, but I think 10 years are not enough to take the statistics as a basement for for predicting the future.
Right. It's like flipping a coin 10 times and then just assuming that that's it. There's almost not enough data. It's too new to really have a good idea of where we're going. So.
Yeah. And to that effect, we had a pretty, a decent, somewhat strong January, an encouraging January. And that is a rare thing in cryptocurrency. If you look back in 2018, everyone was pointing to the January dump as the reason why the market cooled off, when in reality it was not just because of Chinese New Year or whatever anyone was pointing to identify the dump. And so I think just like Chris said, we are in uncharted territory. We are creating the precedent. So it'd be interesting to see. But I'm not looking too much at. I don't think that March statistic is necessarily going to govern the next few weeks of the market. But let's hope for the best.
Mm-hmm.
DaVinci, I mean, we had a good episode together where you actually kind of predicted due to the TA the short-term future of Bitcoin in March. So what's your opinion, man?
Yeah, well, I do think March is going to be a good month because it's all the charts are setting up for that. If it stays high and passes the 200-day moving average, we might have like an actual breakout in Bitcoin, and it's never going to come back down. That's starting to be very interesting, right? I saw that in the charts that I was doing last night, and I wish I could pull some charts up and show you, but I was pretty impressed that what was going on in the weekly charts.
Can you elaborate a little bit? You got us all excited. Let's keep going.
Well, basically, on the weekly charts, you can see that it bounced off the 200-week moving average twice. Not only that, it put in what's it called? Market structure. Basically, the price of the market is showing you that, hey, you know what? It went down, came back up, came back down, and it didn't go down as far as it wanted as the last time, and then it's starting to come back up. So if that's creating basically like a W, you know how I was saying in many of my videos that if the market's smiling at you and doesn't M, it means it's ready to take your money. Well, it works in the opposite, but with W's. So if it looks like it wants a W out and go straight to the moon, now this might be just a fake out, of course, but it's looking like that in the charts, on the weekly charts. So I was very impressed with what I was seeing with the weekly charts. But you know what I think? What's going to happen? And really, what's going to happen is going to go up, and then it's going to be like in 1 week, and we're going to see like a large wick, and it's going to just come back.
Is the price target of 4,900 or 4,000? This golden ratio 4,897? Is that still in place for that?
Yes, it is. It's still in place.
Amazing, man.
Still in place.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have their eyes on the $4,200 level. That seems to be their point they keep saying we have to break out of. But, if you guys look at the actual downward trend that we've been having pretty much since, the all-time high, we still haven't broken out of that yet. So, I mean, I don't do TA like any of you guys, people on my channel know. I'm more fundamental, which unfortunately sometimes doesn't work, sometimes it does. But for me, I think I would be more bullish if we can just get out of that. Once we can break out of that, then I would be happy. But as time goes by, the wedge closes, so it does get smaller and smaller. But I wish we could get Crown on because, he does TA. We talk to him all the time. And, his motto is kind of like the trend is your friend until the end. And Elliot knows that. And, it's going to definitely take something, but the question is, what is it going to take? Some people are saying it's institutional money. Some people say this, that. I mean, I've had an opinion that it's really just price, because I've noticed that when I go out, and that's just me personally, I don't know what it's going to take to get it to that price. But as far as getting people interested, I just went out last night with a bunch of friends, and, no one's there. They are only really interested in something that's rapidly increasing in price that they can jump in on. That not a lot of people have that mentality of like buying the dip or like buying the bottom. That's not interesting. That's not fun to most people, right? But that's when the smart money is accumulating, which is what you try to tell people. Although I think I'll speak for everybody, not financial advice, but that's pretty much the situation. The one thing I will say, though, I have noticed on my channel a lot of new people, a lot of new comments, a lot of people saying, I just bought my first Bitcoin yesterday, right? And we have seen surges in volume. We saw especially OTC, local Bitcoins, Venezuela, all these other places. So you are seeing the volume increasing, but unfortunately the price is not really reflecting some of the sentiment that we're seeing. So, that's just what's going on right now.
Yeah, hopping on a few things you said there. Crown is live right now. I wish we could just bring him in for his. He's just I really appreciate how pragmatic he is. One of the things that I think I have learned over the course of this bear market is there are, more institutional grade players than we're acknowledging. They're the ones moving the price, and they're purely going off of, technical analysis and price analysis. And so while TA has become kind of a meme and people tend to, make fun of it, the truth is it's the most viable way to look at the market and very short term amounts of time. And, until we get above critical resistances like 4,300, 6,000, that's when you're going to see the quote unquote smart money rush back in. Those hedge funds that shut down because they bought high and sold low. They're so smart that they're just going to chase the herd. That's what a lot of the smart money has been doing in this space, is waiting for confirmations of bull or bear runs and just sort of hopping on, which I find kind of funny because they're supposed to be leading the trend and buying low while everyone's selling. But really, that community of institutional players is really small. Even though that they're going hard, I feel like a lot of these hedge funds have sort of shuttered their doors, and they're going to reopen and blast off as soon as there's confirmations in the market. But just like you said, price, once we get confirmations of a bull run and a breakout, I think that's going to everyone's going to hop on the train. But until then, backed or no backed, ETF or no ETF, until we get above some critical resistances, it's just not going to quite happen. But as soon as it does happen, let's wave the flag, but until that moment, let's wait for the confirmations.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to bring up something controversial. I mean, we are all looking at all those theories, hyperwave, 1000, 1300 and stuff, 1,800, 2,200, everything. But when we are not looking at the prices, we are just looking at one fundamental thing. I wanted to bring something up Tone Vase said before. And just to make that clear, we are at Crypto, we are born as bulls. So we are not bearish or negative the whole time. But that theory is actually something really worth looking at. So when you are looking at all the other financial markets, like also the stock market, dot-com bubble and stuff, whenever you had something like a hyperwave, overhyped bubble, afterwards the bear market was always meant to be to bring that heavily overvalued assets down to prices like nearly zero. And when you're looking at Bitcoin, in all that bear markets, Bitcoin didn't go to zero, obviously because it's not worthless, it's very valuable. But for the most part of the altcoins, like, I don't know, 99%, in our opinion, they are worthless, especially a lot of utility tokens which have either a dApp without any users, and even if they have users, they don't have an incentive structure to back up or justify a speculative value. And when you don't have an incentive structure to back up a speculative value of a token, this token must be, the token value must be zero, okay? If you have a token in a business model where it just does not make sense that there is a speculative value.
Well, we've seen that, Chris, not to cut you off. I mean, I agree with you 100%. That's one of the biggest issues that we had in 2017, 2018. Even like, for example, and I don't mean to bash on any particular project, but like, let's just take Bread Wallet, for example. I mean, what is really the utility of the BRD token, right? I mean, what do you do with it? I mean, that's why a lot of these guys were delisting it.
But what's the market cap of it?
I don't know. But
it's not zero.
Well, I mean, it really, once you create a token, you really can't go to zero. There's always somebody left holding. There's eventually like somebody left holding.
That point. Just to end it up, it's just a few sentences. So if the price of that, I don't know, 80, 90, 95% of this utility tokens are not at zero, and there are still pumps happening, and there's still, I don't know, hopium in the space, then the argumentation of Tone Vase is that we cannot go into a bull market because a bear market is meant to bring those fundamentally highly overvalued assets back to zero. And whenever we don't see that zero value market caps, we cannot go into the next bull market. And just as the last sentence, this theory is actually justified by the whole financial market history itself, because all the bear markets usually brought overvalued things like this tulps and anything else down to zero. So that's the only bearish point I would really
so are you basically saying that we need to see more altcoins suffering? We need to see more altcoins dying? Is that what you're saying in order to move forward?
I would love to see that. I hope it's not what we have to see, because obviously we all want the bulls to come back as soon as possible. And
I mean,
most of them
lost 99%. That's pretty damn near zero in my book. I mean, if you had $100 last year and you have $1 now, that's not close enough to zero for you, or like
it is. Yeah.
You said you'd love to see the altcoins burn with such a loving smile.
No, I don't want to see them all burn. I want to see the ones that are, not utilities burn.
Oh yeah, I was talking to Chris. I was saying he said that with such a lovely smile. Yeah, I think like anything, it's so easy to make extreme sort of assessments, and like all things, if you make things too extreme or too black and white, it usually ends up being somewhere in the middle. And so while I think that there will be quite a few altcoins that even with the next bull run get left behind, I think there's, just like Chris is saying, there's going to be some speculative excesses that still need to be wiped away, and that doesn't necessarily need to all happen before the next bull run. The more the merrier, but again, I view things also from my own lens, which is one of product development, like Da Vinci, and when you're making products, it's about users, and users can create value wherever they go. And so if you're bringing users into an ecosystem, there's value, and so long as those people are in there valuing their experience or their prospective experience, then it's good. The places where there's no users and there's no energy and there's sort of like a lifeless space, those will sort of naturally get cleansed, I think, just like websites that don't have traffic. And it's just sort of a natural cycle. But I also think that, there are still some speculative regions that it's easy to say they're dead, but they might still be, like look at Engine Coin and their explosive growth, when you could have argued that maybe that project wasn't showing that many signs of life, and then boom. So I really think that there's a lot sort of brewing under the surface. And, you know, I'm a firm believer in dApps and sort of decentralized web. It's one of the reasons that I'm so excited about this space. And I still think that, you know, most people think that this is maybe not going to happen and that every ICO and every token, utility token, is stupid. But I don't think that at all. And I think that, you know, we're just still waiting for people, smart developers, to go and just acquire those user bases. And with those user bases will come tremendous value. So it's just about, you know, steps. And I think that anyone at any time could provide a tremendous amount of progress and utility and value.
Yeah, I'm rolling it back to Bitcoin because like I didn't get a chance to mention something about Bitcoin. You know what? If the little old lady were to look at Bitcoin right now, she would be, you know what? This is not a bad price to start buying some Bitcoin here and selling half on the double because, you know, there's a huge upside here that if it goes up to like she buys a little bit here at 4,000, it goes to 8,000, she sells half. Yeah, she's good. She's good. She's happy with that. And so, you know, and that's very doable for Bitcoin right now.
I actually just did an interview with Maddie Greenspan. I don't know if you're familiar with him from eToro. He's the senior market analyst, and he kind of said something a little bit similar, not in that sense, but almost just like that dollar cost averaging strategy as well. You know, most average people don't have the ability to really, I mean, who's really going to time the bottom, right? So, you know, diversification and putting in just small amounts that you're not going to freak out over. It's when you rush in and you FOMO. That's what I personally, that's what I learned from last year was FOMOing in. You know, because you got fear, right, of missing out, and you got fear, uncertainty, and doubt. So essentially everything's driven by fear. So, you know, when you're going out and you just can't wait to get your paycheck and just throw it all into Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin drops like 2% or 3%, you're like, oh my God, like what's happening? That's not smart investing. And I mean, I'm not a genius investor, and I can tell you that, you know? So going back to your little old lady strategy, for me personally, last year, everyone was telling, what was the whole theme of last year? Just hodl till you die, just hodl to the grave. Yeah, and guess what? We did, and we lost a lot of money doing that. So clearly, that's not a good strategy, right? So I've changed my view on that. You know, I love projects. I can support them fundamentally, but I no longer will be losing money because of a project that I support just because I simply love it. You understand? I'm not going to just hold that thing down to the ground. For me, I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist at all. I love the altcoins, but for me, they're vehicles to acquire more Bitcoin. I don't know if you guys feel that way. That's my stance. You know, I believe in Bitcoin, and I try to accumulate as much Bitcoin as possible. So, you know, I'm not going to hold it, you know, down 20, 30, 40, 50% like we were doing last year. And I think that we need to just get rid of that strategy, get rid of that romanticism, and be way more practical about what's really happening, you know?
Yeah.
So
Chris could vouch for me. Like I had a large cash holdings for all of 2018 because like it was done, right? So I have to wait.
I saw it. He sold at 90. What was it? 19,000 something, Da Vinci. Where did you sell at? What price, man?
Well, I sold at 19,000, but I didn't sell a whole lot. I sold the most at 17 because that's when
the rejection happened. Yeah.
And I said,
was that was that now the 17, was that on after, like on the, after it had gone down and went up to the second kind of, they would call it the exit pump essentially? Was it like that?
Exactly. Yeah. So I was out and I sold, like, I was really, you know what, I had more money in January than I did at the top of Bitcoin in December because I had a lot of altcoins. So I ended up selling half of all of my altcoins, every single altcoin, no matter what price it was at. I just dumped a half of it, and I went all cash, like a lot.
Well, you see, that's something that I never realized because you know, I went all in. Anyone watching my channel, you know, I've always said don't do what I do. I am a little bit of an extreme person. I've calmed down a little bit, but I actually started understanding the value of utilizing cash as a hedge now. And I'm okay with saying that I do have some cash. Like my bank account used to have like $300 in it. I'm not even kidding. Like it was crazy the way I used to live. And now it's like, all right, let's be a little more realistic. Let's actually put something away. And that way we can hedge. You know, you want to be a little, you know, a little bit of Bitcoin, a little bit of altcoins, a little bit of cash, and you know, whatever you want, USDT, USDC, whatever's more convenient for you, but something stable, you know?
Yeah, the idea
like Facebook coin.
the idea that essentially all the governments in the world are going to simultaneously melt down, and that your cash is going to become worthless like water, and then all of a sudden your Bitcoin is going to be the only valuable currency. That's interesting theory, but of course, like that's a pretty hard theory to bet on. And do we even want that world to materialize is another question. But yeah, going back to what you said about essentially only acquiring Bitcoin, like I look at Bitcoin as the wealth building mechanism and the wealth holder, whereas these other projects have their value, but should they go up 1,000x in value ever? That's even a question of, these platforms. I think they're going to do well in the short term. In the long term, I think that blockchain platforms should have almost free transactions. It should be instantaneous. And when you have an environment like that, because obviously that's the environment of our centralized web and app store, so why would people go to a more expensive, slower version of products? It's never been that way in the history of product growth and evolution. So why would people take a step backwards? They won't. So the platform that will win will be almost free, if not completely free and instantaneous, which kind of means that the token should either be completely inflationary or there's just no world in which I see the platform token of having the same growth as Bitcoin, because it doesn't make sense that the platforms would be so expensive to use. Having said, so, this is my way of saying that in the short term, I think the platforms will do really well. I think in the long term, yeah, you want to be in Bitcoin if that's where you're holding your wealth, because I think that the more instantaneous and free and low cost platforms will eat up the expensive and slow platforms that are just trying to preserve incentive.
Exactly.
Just wanted to bring something up because I'm just quickly looking to the chat and I'm seeing a lot of people are still interested very much in the Bitcoin price and what to do right now. Maybe Da Vinci, maybe that's a question for you, because a lot of people are also mentioning your name. What do you actually think at the moment? Because you mentioned that weekly candles you looked at the last night. What is actually your game plan, your strategy on the market right now? What are you personally doing? Obviously, no financial advice. Currently at the market, how do you try to handle the month of March?
Well, currently right now, I'm nibbling into Bitcoin. Anytime I could see a possible drop in the Bitcoin price, I'm buying in because I think we're going to get up to the 4,800 level, maybe even go to the 5,300 level. So I'm waiting for the market to come to me, basically, and if it does, I'm getting paid, and yeah, it's worked out very well actually, because the last few days, actually, there was a couple candles straight down, and the market I got my fill. Actually, you know what? My last fill was at right at the bottom. I put an order at at $3,755.33, and I got filled. Almost 10 points.
That's 33 cents.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
That was what it was
Can
about.
I actually butt in? Do you mind? I want to ask you a question, Da Vinci, because this is a question I always ask people who have been in it longer than me, and you've seen these different boom and bust cycles, and you've seen it. So this isn't like the first bear market you've ever been through. But I have a question, and I want to know your opinion. Is it different this time now that we have these instruments, now that we have these futures? Before we couldn't make money by shorting Bitcoin. Now we can. So
yes,
is this going to prevent those parabolic runs that we used to see? I mean, are those days gone? Because now, hey, let's just short it again, right? What do you think?
I do think it's going to be a longer haul because of the Crimex. Now that we have the Comex Crimex, I always call the Comex the Crimex, because I mean, come on, you can create a contract promising somebody a Bitcoin, but never deliver on it, and then that somebody else is buying that, and then they're trading it against the price. I mean, what kind of madness is that? Right? None of the two people in this transactions, right? Because every trade, it requires two people, ever see a Bitcoin. It's only gone.
And not even just to mention that it takes away the beauty of the value of the original 21 million coins, right? Because now you have all these paper Bitcoins floating around, kind of like what we did with gold. And it just really just screws up the original vision of it, of, there only being so many coins. And I think it just, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know much about that stuff. I don't really do stuff like that. I'm not a heavy trader, but for me, it seems like it's going to have an effect on it. And I think it already is.
It is, because here's why. You know what? The Federal Reserve and the government, people who understand the monetary system, and the people who are ahead of this monetary system, they understand that, if everybody got $1 million, we dropped $1 million on every single person on the planet, and nobody spent it, prices would not go up. So they understand that if people spend the money, all that printed money, the prices will go up. So how can we get people not to spend the money and cause prices to go up? We create gambling casinos to help them, put their money to gamble here, put it there, put it there. Oh, it'll help it grow here. They throw it in different places, like debts, bonds, and stuff like that. Everywhere they come up with different ways of you moving your money. For example, ETFs, which have no backing at all. Whatever they could come up with in order for you to not put your money in the asset, the real asset that will cause the price to go higher. And that is why we're not seeing the hyperinflationary event, even though the Federal Reserve has doubled the money supply in 2008, right? It's because they understand how to control it, how to move the money around. And by creating the commodities exchange for Bitcoin, they understand that there are a certain segment of people that just want to bet on the price and make money on the price, make dollars on the price. They don't care about Bitcoin at all. And so they provide that utility, which caused actually the price to keep going down. And this will actually make this next bull run a lot slower.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to say something, because I think this has to be said. For all the channels, for all the viewers out there, make sure you smash the like button on Crypto Zombies channel, on FAT TV's channel, on our channel, man. It's so important. We are doing that for free, and the more you smash that like button, it's for free for you as well. The more we get the content out there. We are straight going to 1,000 live viewers. So come on, guys, smash, share it, comment like crazy, and that's enough out of me for now.
Chris smashed the like so hard you froze on my screen over here, man.
Yeah.
So
I know, exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, guys, I talk about Bitcoin all the time. I try not to really talk about altcoins too much. Last year we were talking about a lot of them, and it turns into like a prediction thing. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate that. Smash the likes. It turns into one of those things where people, if you make a prediction and you're right, you're a genius, but you're only a genius until that person doesn't sell and then loses their money. Or if the price goes down, then it's like a witch hunt. Why did I listen to you? So I don't really like to talk about that, but I do invest in cryptos. And do you guys have any altcoins particularly? And like, we're not shilling, I'm not at least, but seriously, is there anything that you guys think has some kind of potential right now? Or is there anything that you're looking at specifically?
Yeah, I really just, especially after my interview with June Lee, I'm really excited to see what Ontology does. Obviously, I don't care, don't go out and buy it. It's pumped a lot, but at the same time, I've bought in. I have a big stack of it, and it's been generating this Ontology gas. And that Ontology gas now has gotten me another 10% more Ontology in just 9 months. And so, it's a pretty solid return. I don't know if those returns are going to keep up, but as the platform grows in popularity, I could see it becoming like, it kind of reminds me of what Neo wanted to be. And I could see it being even more successful than Neo. So that's like my altcoin that I'm probably most excited about long term. Obviously, payment rails I think are going to be huge, and then there's a few other ones. But as far as like other currencies, quote unquote, that are meant to be used sort of in lieu of Bitcoin, and they're claiming to be faster, stronger, better in this way or that way, I think that's a slippery slope, because in the end you can make Bitcoin faster, better, stronger, more private. You can build in more feature sets to the second layer of Bitcoin, whatever. And I just think that whatever attributes you're looking for Bitcoin to have in the long term, it can have that. So to me, like, arguing that anything is better because of speed or scalability or privacy today, to me is just that's a slippery slope. So I'm not that passionate about other currencies, but I think there are other projects that have different applications besides currencies that I'm excited about. But whenever anyone talks about just another quote unquote coin, and they use some attribute, that's when I start to get a little bit like, okay, well, maybe it'll pump, but to me in the long term, Bitcoin will come to occupy all that energy.
Exactly. Exactly.
And one of the things, I actually, if you guys are reading the title of mine, I was actually saying Bitcoin or altcoins, you know, and I think right now we've seen a lot of altcoins. You see on like every other day, there's a new altcoin pumping, right? And, you know, some of them are actually great projects. Some of them, I don't know what the heck they are, but it's definitely showing that like we're getting kind of bored with the stagnant Bitcoin price. So I even think if Bitcoin does have a bad March personally, like even if Bitcoin doesn't do well this March, I think the altcoins are going to do well because we've sort of had that confidence. You know, we've had a few rallies here and there, some people getting excited, and you're starting to see projects, especially ICOs that were going in, they were basically in what do you call it, like stealth mode, essentially, coming out now and starting to list on exchanges, starting to present what they've been building during this entire down market. And another thing, now I don't know if this really counts, but as a person with a YouTube channel, I wasn't really getting a lot of offers, you know, they always want you to sponsor this, talk about this, right? And like the past week, my inbox has just absolutely exploded. So I don't know what that means, but projects are building and they want to put themselves out again. So that tells me something's happening in the background. Someone's working, someone's building, and someone wants to get it.
We're going through the development cycle, right? When prices have come down, right? Now the developers go back to work. They're not like just partying anymore. So they're all producing some sort of project, right, for the next big bull run in the future that's coming in the future, right? So that's where I see it. Now, I want to talk about all the different XRP army. Like, what's going on with XRP? People are like so like crazy fanatic for it. What's happening with that? Anybody know?
You stepping on a landmine right now.
Well, actually, I'm kind of like, some people might say I'm too easy. I'm actually pretty friendly with like most of these armies. Like I can see their perspective, you know, like I never say like Bitcoin over XRP or XRP over Bitcoin. I think they have their own use cases. I've made it very clear that I'm personally more interested in Bitcoin, but I've never ever had an issue with the XRP army, whatever. I understand the use case. I get it. Quick remittances, super fast, you know, easy to move large quantities of money, and then, you know, instantly convert. You know, you wanted dollars to pesos, right? XRP, boom, convert back, you're done. So I can respect that, you know, and I don't know. I mean, is there anyone on here from the XRP army? Maybe you guys can hop in here and tell me why you guys love it so much. I don't know.
I'm definitely not in the XRP army, and in my opinion, XRP, or in our opinion at Crypto, XRP was a huge joke until XRapid was launched. Before it was just a,
well, yeah, it was no use for the token. Exactly.
It was a currency only, like A to B. That was it. And then XRapid was launched. Okay, finally they had a use case. But yeah, coming back to the question why the army is so strong, I think they have a very good community management. Check out this Telegram group where I'm banned at, obviously, for a few months right now. They are crazy. They are going crazy. And when someone is kind of negative, they are banning.
But Chris, what you just said is the community. And that's exactly what Elliot said earlier, is that, yeah, you could build the greatest dApp in the world, but who's using it? You know, how much, look at how much money these dApps raised in the past, where they got daily daily users of like maybe 15 people. Can you imagine trying to convince, you know, the Apple store or to list something that's, oh yeah, a daily user is 15. It's a joke, you know? I mean, and it's just, I don't know, in my opinion, I think we really need to start showing some real use cases for these blockchain projects, you know, or else we're just going to go back to just Bitcoin, because where's the killer app? I mean, Andreas Antonopoulos would argue that Bitcoin is the killer app, but I mean, outside of Bitcoin, you know?
I had a check with our team the recent days, and we checked out the top dApps of Ethereum. They were very poorly used, but the top of them are either this IDEX thing, everything is related to speculation or gaming or gambling, and they are poorly used. But for Tron, which we are also not a big fan of, but we had a good TA from DaVinci before, Tron has also very crazily heavily used dApps, but all of them are related to gambling. The top 3 apps, they are heavily used, and all of them are related to gambling. Just check out their dApp. It's crazy to see how much transactions there are. It's really mind-blowing.
You know, in a strange way, though, I get what you're saying, right? stupid use case gambling, but it's actually not,
Okay.
because having the ability to have like what is it called? I'm not really technical, like a script hash or something like that, where you can verify that, you know, because I don't trust these online gambling sites. You know, I don't believe these centralized ones. You really think that like they know what you're putting in, they know what you're doing, but these other ones in the background, when you can actually verify that they're random numbers and they're not rigging the system, I actually kind of like that. And I think that I'm not a fan of gambling. I mean, crap, if you're in crypto, you're pretty much a gambler as is. But, you know, if you want to gamble on these even crazier apps, I like that they're verifiable. I think that's a great use for blockchain, you know, being able to look at it and go, yeah, I wasn't cheated on that roll, you know?
Yeah, I
Gambling
think
is fine. I think Da Vinci, you have a second use case which you very like, and that's content on the blockchain, isn't it? Because of the censorship.
Exactly. I mean, right now, as you know, that a lot of the different social networks are censoring people. For example, Patreon, Facebook, YouTube, right? They're all censoring people. The reason why they're doing this is because of they realize that the mainstream media is losing the grip of a hold on the audience, and so they need to like move towards the social media in order to gain back control of the bigger audience, and so that they can tell them what to do and which way to go, because they've lost in like, for example, in this global warming thing, and now this climate change. They've lost so much because of media, because of social media, that they need to get control of it, and as they do, we need to move on to decentralized platforms.
Yeah.
At the same point, we need to be careful of the fake news, though, because it you know, as much as, you know, it can go both ways. I mean, we can spread the truth, but we can also spread misinformation just as fast.
So I think a couple of things. I'm just going to recap. Yeah, use cases for blockchain. I'm not going to go back to XRP, but use cases for blockchain right now, it makes total sense that people are gambling because that's kind of the energy of someone who wants to come in and make 10, 100x within a month on their money. Where can you do that except a casino or 2017 bull run? So a lot of that energy is just sort of left over and more based on the type of people who own crypto. And then, of course, you know, part of what's going on with these gambling sites is they're essentially not only they unlicensed gambling sites online, but they're also creating these like bona fide securities where as you gamble, you get dividends in the platform. And so people are really not gambling. They're thinking they're winning all the time because they're getting this other coin that's the gambling coin, and then they're sharing in the daily dividends. But really the risk there is that people are putting a lot of their money into these anonymously run gambling sites and hoping for dividends so that they can make passive income. And, you know, that reminds me of one very famous project that came crumbling down in 2018 called BitConnect. And so that's like my big that's my big worry, is that people are putting too much that they can't lose into these gambling sites and expecting dividends. But besides that, you know, human nature is human nature. Go gamble, do whatever you want. I'm not going to judge you. And yeah, I think it's more a reflection of just the community and the small size of it right now, and how people just want to make gains. And so, you know, in a bear market, what are you going to do except put it on black? And so in the end, right now, I think it's bad, but I think it's something that we can overcome. It just has to do with the build cycle and having people build products that can pierce through this crypto bubble and get people using products for another reason besides just saying, oh, I hope this goes up 10x. Because if we are able to get that energy of people using products because they just like them, like they did with the App Store, then we're on the right track. And that's kind of why I believe in the Web 3.0 push. And I think that people want to write it off because of all the stupid ICOs. But at the same time, these products have you know, the chance of Bitcoin replacing gold, or the journey for Bitcoin to replace gold or the US dollar might take a lot longer than someone adopting a new social media platform or a new video game or something like that. So maybe it won't have the same effect in terms of total market cap, but I think it'll be, you know, this buildup of products that people just start using because they're fun.
Please, no one put everything on black. Please
put it all on black.
put it all on double zero green. It kind of reminds me, there was an article that I brought up the other day about, it was actually Milton Bradley. you know, the guys that make the board games and stuff. And they were actually bashing early video games in the 70s, saying that video games are just a fad. You know, yeah, everyone's having fun playing, you know, Pong or whatever they're doing, and they're going to come back to the regular games. And look at the gaming industry now. So you got to think to yourself, yeah, okay, it sucks what we're using it for now, but we will find better use cases. It will become fine-tuned. You know, the first airplane didn't take flight the first time they tried it. The first automobile wasn't the best, you know. And you always think to yourself, like, and don't forget network effect too. You know, the more that people actually join on to these networks and use it, you know, they always say like the first telephone was the hardest one to sell, right? The second one's easy. I'll call the first guy. You know what I mean? Now we have a network. So I think as we begin to build that network and not only create dApps that are good, but are actually better than what people are already used to using, that's going to be the key difference. And for me personally, I don't mind starting small with things like, I mean, gambling, whatever. I look more towards games, video games. I like things like, you know, like what Engine is doing essentially, Loom Network, Wax, owning your own digital assets. That's real. I mean, gamers can't stand, you know, having to repurchase things every time you download a new game. You know, everyone lives in a digital world. Kids have iPads. We're very accustomed to this digital idea of digital collectibles, digital currency. You know what I'm saying? And I do see this growing and growing. And I know guys like Engine and Loom and, you know, a lot of them are working really hard day in, day out to make this work, you know? So I definitely see a lot of potential in the space personally, you know, outside of just speculating the price of Bitcoin all day. I do.
Yeah. You mentioned gambling again, but I think this token, or now it's a coin, the Binance chain, BNB, this is the one with the most used, with the biggest use case actually at the moment. So a lot of people are dropping that in the comment section as well. Let me actually put the comment section right here.
Yeah, Binance is a really it's a very controversial topic recently.
It is very, and everyone is saying like 80% are saying it's fine, but 20% are saying that it's scam. Maybe you guys can also in the other streams put in the comment section down below whether you think it's a scam or not. And now we would be interested in hearing your opinion. I will also drop our opinion in the end. What do you guys think? Is Binance, the exchange with CZ, are they actually legit? Are they manipulating the market? Are they good for the space? Are they harmful for the space? And obviously, guys, everyone in the comment section also drop your opinion down below, man. And smash the like button, man. Smash!
Yeah, I did an episode on this, and I was actually a little bit shocked by all the outrage towards Binance, which, you know, during the 2017 bull run, everyone's begging Binance to list every coin. And then now in 2019, everyone's saying, oh, I can't believe you listed all those coins. And, you know, part of what I see as is, you know, crypto is so small. And so, you know, we need certain projects to succeed, even if it's not as far as you thought, 100% in alignment with every ideal that you had for the crypto space. Like, progress towards a decentralized world is better than no progress. And there's nothing to say that something more decentralized can't disrupt Binance in the future. But right now, Binance to me is providing the users with so much value that people are using it. And if they weren't, the market would choose another product. And so I never really blame the market for going the way it goes. I just try to understand that if you want total freedom, then you're going to get people choosing whatever they choose. And so Binance has been chosen. Are they manipulating the market? I don't have the skills to prove that one way or the other, but I do believe that they're providing the most in-demand exchange services, and they keep seeming to expand. And you could argue it's predatory. You could argue it's too dominant. But to me, I see it as if there's a trusted exchange that everyone in the world feels comfortable trading on, that's better than there not being one for the short term. If in the end they become something where people feel threatened by it and they want to start using other services, then let those services go and become successful. But to me, it's not fair to say, Binance, you've succeeded too much, so you're bad.
I mean, when I first got into crypto, there was no Binance. So my first exchange I ever used was Bittrex. You know, so I had a Bittrex account. I had a couple accounts on some other ones, and decentralized exchanges. They might have been around, but they weren't really that big. No one was really talking about them, so I was only using the few that were available. But the thing is you know, as far as that goes, I mean, we could talk all day about is it manipulated? I mean, could it be manipulated? Yeah, totally. It's centralized. Absolutely. We already know that. That's not even a question of could it be. It could definitely be manipulated. They could manipulate any price they want. We know that. But I think the thing is like, is anyone actually putting a gun to your head and telling you to use Binance? I mean, I trade on IDEX all the time. That's actually where I pick up some of my greatest deals for some of these low cap cryptos. I mean, seriously. So I use DEXs all the time, but occasionally, you know, I need massive liquidity and I can't find it anywhere else. And I don't know what to do. So do I just boycott them and say, hey, you know what, screw you guys, you're scammers, I'm not using Binance, and just sit on these tokens and just watch them go down to nothing because I have no place to sell them because there's no liquidity? Or do I, you know, go on there and, you know, utilize the tool for what it is? And, you know, it is, I don't know. That's the thing. I mean, you know, you may have a philosophical standpoint, and if that's the case, then don't. And everyone has their own right to do that and to have their opinion on it. But, you know, hating on something because it was able to be successful, why? I mean, we had Kraken, we had Poloniex, we had Bittrex. I can't even think of the rest of the exchanges. So why did Binance become successful? What was it about Binance that made it successful? I mean, do you guys have an answer to that? I mean, clearly people liked it. You know, I don't know why they did.
Yeah, they were the first crypto to crypto. They just saw crypto to crypto as a.
I have it from CZ himself. He said it in an interview. He said that their success is only based on timing. So they were the first ones with a decent user interface, crypto to crypto, and that was basically it, you know. And obviously they started with a good funding because of their ICO. And Da Vinci, I would also like to hear your opinion. I would just drop my opinion before, or our opinion. We actually think that Binance is legit. I mean, maybe they are manipulating. They are very powerful. They have powerful market makers. But
I wouldn't doubt that that stuff has happened. You know, you can't, you know.
I mean, they have market makers and everything else set in place. And now they are very heavily supporting the projects launching on the Binance Launchpad because they want to advertise their own Launchpad to be very successful for ICOs, to afterwards charge more to the ICOs, obviously. But on the other hand, it's at least an exchange which is not artificially inflating their trading volume. The only ones which are not doing it are Coinbase, Kraken, and Binance. And all the others, and maybe Huobi, and all the others are artificially inflating their trading volume. So if you want to point with your finger on any exchange, you can go down the line and point your finger at 1,000 other exchanges. It's literally 1,000 other exchanges out there.
I mean, I'll just tell you guys truth. I'm not bashing on, I hate bashing on it, but you know, I went to KuCoin the other day I was going to do a little bit of trading. There was a crypto over there that wasn't available on the other exchanges. And the volume that's showing up is massive on CoinMarketCap. And I go over there and I'm like, what's going on here? I can't even move this thing. And every time I put in an order, it's like some random little point decimal kind of like kicks me out of the way. And I'm just like, what is this going on? You know, it's really fishy stuff. So I'm not saying anything about KuCoin, but certain exchanges, there's like some weird stuff that happens when you're trying to trade, man. And it's just strange, like, you know? So
yeah, Binance does the same thing where they want you to purchase it in the specific blocks and stuff like that, or certain amount of percentage of the coin. And I don't even understand how they work, because like I'm trying to like program against their API, and they have so many rules on how you're supposed to buy something, and it's like, what the heck? It's ridiculous. So anyways, I just recently told everybody that if they smash up the likes and we get to 1,000 likes, well, I'll give somebody a 1 Bitcoin.
Can you give me that 1 Bitcoin?
I'll smash the like.
1 Bitcoin?
Guys, why are you not smashing the like, man? That increases your chance of getting 1 Bitcoin. Da Vinci, man, you have a lot of giveaways within the last few. Actually, you gave me this one. Thank you so much again.
I actually have a giveaway next Monday, but I'm kind of keeping it down, keeping it on the low right now. So you heard it here first, guys. Heard it here first.
Well,
yeah, surprise everybody. Say thank you for all the support.
We'll give that away as well.
Yeah,
and definitely thank you to everyone watching, man. You know, everyone that's really stuck it out. It's been a tough bear market. You know, it's not like everyone's like, oh, it's been really easy for these, like, you know, I'm a YouTuber, dude. No, I trust me, I got hit super hard. I was the idiot that went all in. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I don't mind learning from my mistakes, and I don't mind learning together with you guys. I don't mind opening myself up and showing you that it's okay. You know, that's what makes us human, but we can grow from this together. And, you know, I had a little talk with one of the things I said to Maddie Greenspan was the pioneers in the space. You know, we're the guys getting shot with the arrows and the covered wagons and, you know, going to uncharted territory. And, you know, we don't know what we're doing. There's no map for us, you know, but it takes that structure to get built. And we're the ones that, no, not us particularly, but the builders right now are the ones that are making it better for the future generations. So you know what? We needed BitConnect. we needed scam ICOs, you know, and it sucks for the people that were involved in them. But if we didn't have that, how could we ever progress to a better space, a more legitimate a thing, you know? I mean, some people, it's like that whole, they're not going to approve an ETF because the manipulation, but at the same time, potentially, if we approved it, it might kind of legitimize more, create more liquidity, but they're not going to do it. And you just keep going around in circles, you know? So I think it's our job to clean up the space. And I think it's everyone's job to, you know, sort of pass on your mistakes, you know, to the next and say, don't do this. You know, I think that's how it's going to grow personally. Don't buy the next BitConnect. Shut them down. Don't give them the money, you know, and then they'll just stop, hopefully.
Yeah, and you know, it's kind of interesting because we had a world where, you know, Satoshi Nakamoto, we don't know who this person is. So we've idealized, we've, you know, romanticized this person or group of people. And, you know, for that reason, and obviously we all know that now Satoshi Nakamoto is actually Da Vinci. But
oh yeah, we do. Yeah.
Smash like if you think that Da Vinci's Satoshi. But yeah, so it makes it easier, right? Because we can't just criticize this person for every decision they make. Whereas, you know, CZ's on Twitter and Vitalik's on Twitter and Justin Sun's on Twitter. And so we have all these founders that we can just go and attack them personally. And it makes it easy to, you know, think negatively about the project. And maybe that was the most brilliant thing Satoshi ever did, was remain anonymous, because they realized that it would be so easy to attack them and to discredit them, because anyone can be attacked and discredited. And that's maybe the beauty of Bitcoin that will never be replicated, is the anonymity, the sort of romantic thing that happened there of this person having 1 million coins and saying, you know what, I need to never touch those, because if I do, it will call into question the network, and all these things that went into making Bitcoin so unique, and you just can't replicate that on other projects. And maybe that's one of the reasons that Bitcoin will continue to remain as it is, the most secure, the most decentralized, in my mind.
Censorship resistance, man. It's you know, I'm a person who likes to own my things. I always say that all the time. And with Bitcoin, I own it. When it's in a bank, it's like, well, we kind of let you use it unless things get crazy. You know, I mean, like you said, Elliot, the whole system's not gonna crash overnight. But I personally like to own my own Bitcoin. It's something about it. You know, I don't know. I just love it. I love the feeling. It's empowering. So it's what drew me to the space originally. And then I'm not going to lie, the price went up and then I got more interested. But originally, I loved the concept. You know, it was really cool. So that definitely drew me to it.
But you know what? The dollar is coming to its end. You could see in the news when they pull out, what's his name? This old guy, I can't remember his goddamn name. But anyways, he's coming out on saying how that the dollar is fine. There's nothing wrong with the dollar. And he doesn't understand why all these people are interested in Bitcoin. It's a useless asset, just sits there, right? And I'm like, okay, why are you talking about something wrong with the dollar if there's nothing wrong with the dollar, right? If you're saying there's nothing wrong with the dollar, there is something wrong with the dollar. That's what I'm thinking. And so he's the first step. Once they get to the president, and the president says that, everybody run, because that's how I confirmed the 2008 collapse of the banking system. I was reading all the balance sheets of the banks and looking at their M3 assets. It was ridiculous. Their level 3 assets were like crap. And then I was like, oh my God, am I seeing this right? The banks are all going to die. And I didn't believe it. I didn't believe what I was seeing. And then the president came on television and said, there's nothing wrong with our banks. Our banks are strong. And I'm like, oh my God. He just confirmed everything that I was reading.
And you predicted this crisis by the week, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. I was there. I was telling everybody at work that, dude, your bank's going to be gone in a couple. So I'm staying home and I'm watching this whole thing collapse. And they're like, "What are you talking about? You're nuts."
And to be fair, you've been your channel was focused more on gold and silver than it was on Bitcoin, if you go back on Da Vinci's channel. So, you know, as far as understanding alternative currencies and where they sit in the world, you've been, I guess, on the edge there, banging that drum for a while now.
Exactly. It's a way you, like, I couldn't find any other asset at the time, right? Of course, because gold and silver has a long history. To protect yourself from the banking system. So that's, now that we have Bitcoin, oh my goodness, right? This has changed everything.
Yeah.
Don't you agree?
I
Definitely.
wanted to come back to this fiat currency system. We covered that in another video recently on our channel. It was just like 10 or 11 minutes, and we checked out the inflation, the supply inflation of the supply of the fiat currency of the US dollar, and we saw that within the last 32 years, the total supply of US dollar has increased with I don't know, like 5.5x or so. And then if you look at the Bitcoin price right now, and then you discount the price from 2050, which the Bitcoin inflation will increase for, I don't know, like only 15% in 32 years, then the market cap currently would be 82 billion or so. And then if you divide that by 5.5, you will come to a current US dollar price of 650. So if you think that the Bitcoin price of 650, purchasing power inflation adjusted, is cheap, then you should buy at the current prices. No financial advice. So it's just saying that if you look at the fiat currencies as an alternative investment to Bitcoin, because fiat currency is an investment as well, you have the opinion, you have the possibility to invest in gold, real estate, Bitcoin, or fiat currency. Then you have to ask yourself a question: when you want to stay in fiat currency like US dollar or euro, you have to check out the inflation, also the purchasing power, but also the total inflation of the supply. And then you have to divide that from the Bitcoin price as well, because you are measuring Bitcoin in US dollar or in euro. So that's why Bitcoin is, in our opinion, when you believe in the fundamentals, a no-brainer to buy right now. It's definitely cheap enough. Look, it fell down from 90,500 to 3,100, and people are still waiting for 2,800 or so. It's ludicrous. It's madness, man. Why are you waiting for $300 more to drop? Look at the long run, man. It's such a no-brainer, man.
Yeah, we do get really, really wrapped up in the daily movements, don't we? What's it going to be tomorrow? It doesn't matter what it's going to be tomorrow. I mean, long term, like, I mean, you don't have to be a genius to know that every year you go back to the mall and you buy, your favorite sweater, it's a little more expensive than it was last year. You know what I mean? 2 to 3% annual loss, depreciation, in the dollar.
At least
Statistically, you can just go back and look at it. It's not like some secret. You're guaranteed to lose value if you hold dollars. You're guaranteed.
You've been tracking the annual hoodie index, the sweater index.
Absolutely, dude. Hoodies and sweat.
And it's even more drastically, it's even more bad when you look at the basket it's measured in. So the basket the inflation is measured in, the purchasing power, it's the wrong basket, because you have a lot of consumption goods, traveling and stuff, like calling other people, which everything is getting cheaper, not the phones, but the calling other people and traveling and so on.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, something.
You don't have enough real estate, assets, tangible, non-tangible assets. All of that is not enough valued in this basket the inflation is measured in. And if you would adjust it, the inflation wouldn't be like 2 or 3%. It would be 5, 6, or 7% even.
Right. Yeah, you could actually see the real inflation at shadowstats.com. That's where you can get some real inflation numbers. Because
how much is it?
Shadowstats.com.
Shadowstats.com. They keep track of the real inflation. It's I believe the last time I checked, it was close to 7%.
So I think we're coming towards about an hour here on the stream, and I just wanted to get everyone's sort of closing thoughts. Well, we can go around the round table here, and what do you think people should be focusing on for March 2019 here in crypto land?
Yeah, maybe also some people can drop some comments. And Da Vinci, I wanted to ask a question in the beginning anyways. Are there any altcoins from a TA point of view you are looking out for in March especially? I mean, we had Icon in the last episode, but it already jumped after our episode like crazy. So do you have anything else also you had a look at?
You know what? That's not fair, because everybody's going to say that I'm going to be shilling some stupid coin.
High volume. Let's take high volume ones. We don't want to affect the market.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just tired of watching and reading that. So, you know what? Honestly, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. But you know what? Actually, you know what? Ethereum. That's right. I was looking at Ethereum when I was looking at the Bitcoin price as well, and thinking, okay, well, where is Ethereum going to go? I was like, oh my God, its weekly chart is also just as beautiful as the Bitcoin's weekly chart. The only thing is, like, don't have the 200 week moving average because it's not enough time. But man, does it ever carve out a beautiful W pattern that it looks like it wants to like jump. But I don't think so. I don't think it's going to happen in March. But who knows? Anything can happen. But
yeah,
at the same time, it's above its 13 EMA on the what's it called, on the 1 week average. So that's looking really, really impressive, Ethereum. So if you're interested, yeah, I think if you let the market come to you, set your
Let
buy
the
or
market come to you.
you can get some discounted Ethereum and ride the wave.
Let me drop something in as well from the fundamental point of view. You had the third inning, and now you only have like two Ethereum per block. Before it was 3 Ethereum, and what that basically means, that's a deflationary policy from the Ethereum Foundation to do that hard fork, because you have a lower inflation in that case. Maybe that was already priced in the market price before, maybe, but you actually were able to see the hard fork was happening, the inflation decreased, and at the same time, Ethereum decreased for 1% price. So when it was priced in, fine, but when it wasn't priced in, maybe it will be priced in the future. So just besides this TA point of view you were mentioning, from the fundamental point of view, that's actually backing your prediction.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to Ethereum taking off. Right, I ended up holding a large bag of that by accident.
Yeah. And just very quickly, for everyone who forgot it, smash the like buttons to 1,000 likes, man. You want to get that 1 Bitcoin, and the live episode is ending soon, so make sure you smash it, man.
Yes, smash the likes for a free Bitcoin. I wish that was every day. That'd be awesome. So yeah, guys, it's been pretty good chat. Thank you so much. I feel like I learned a lot. I always enjoy listening to guys, especially like Da Vinci, who, you've been around in the space, you have a lot of experience, and I love listening to different perspectives, especially ones that go against what I believe in. That's like the fun part about having discussions. So I want to say thank you guys for joining me on this live stream on the channel today. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys. Just closing thoughts. I think that we all have as much power as we have in the market, and I know a lot of people ask, how can I help the market? And one of the ways you can obviously do that is buying and holding cryptocurrency, but another way you can do that is using products in the market. And so I'm kind of going to be on this kick for a while now of use dApps. Like go and use them, go and find the good ones, figure out what's working, what's not, give feedback, and use products in the space, because the more that we can spread usage and actual utility, I think that that's the real focus of the more that this isn't just some speculative game, the more that we actually have these products helping our daily lives, the more we can build sustainably and build a real market, a real new segment of the economy. And until then, it's going to be fun, but it's going to be a wild roller coaster. So use dApps, guys.
It only takes one. One Facebook, one Google, one Uber, one Amazon, and it's a matter of time, like you guys said, and it'll surface. I'm sure it will. There's a lot of people working very hard right now. So
yeah, development stage, man. I also wanted to end it up now. Thank you so much for everyone coming to that stream, coming to our channel. Thank you so much for having us on your guys' channel. It was a big pleasure talking to you, having that, I don't know, more than 1 hour. We said below 1 hour, and now I think we could keep on talking like for many hours. It was great. We nearly approached 1,000 viewers. It's a big pleasure, man. Thank you so much, guys.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
For everyone interested in our channel as well, we have Da Vinci regularly on our show. He is actually in our team. We are doing TA, we are doing fundamental analysis. All that, not all, but 90% of that predictions are on point. You see it, and afterwards it's actually happening. It's great. Just type in the search bar. You are on YouTube right now, Crypto. You will find our channel. And also you guys should promote your channels, because everyone who's watching that, we reviewed all their channels, and Crypto Zombie, Fat TV, very great channels.
I got your links in the description, man. I'm already thinking ahead. So if you guys want to,
I think it's there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for watching, guys. The next episode with Da Vinci is coming very, very soon. And now I will drop the mic to you guys.
Yeah. Well, thanks everybody for watching and smashing up the likes. I know we're at 601 likes. And I'm going to have to close off this my offer of 1 Bitcoin. Sorry.
You guys should have smashed them up. So also, can I just say, guys, thank you so much, because it felt really weird not waking up and having to do the news this morning. Usually I wake up and I kind of, and this was a little interesting break. It was like a fun Friday. So thank you so much for sort of, giving me a nice Friday. But we're coming back tomorrow, guys. I'm not leaving you. Saturday, Sunday, we'll be back. So thank you so much.
Yeah, and, I was gonna give a Bitcoin out too, but I guess I can't now. So thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.
Well, I got all my money in JPM coin and Facebook coin, so I'm sorry, guys. That's all I got right now. So just kidding.
FUD Nation, thank you guys. Signing out.
Until next time, stay crypto and peace out.
All right, I will also say goodbye. Thank you everyone for watching, and we will close the stream now as well. We will see each other at the next episode of Crypto, and most probably also Da Vinci. If not Da Vinci, then the one afterwards. We will do another episode, a content episode also very soon. Thank you for liking, subscribing, commenting, just as dApp is always saying it. And yeah, we will see you next time at the next